Women communicate desire through silence, more than words ever could. What they crave most is never spoken directly, not because they're deceptive, but because the moment desire is spoken, it collapses under the weight of language. The paradox is simple. The things she'll never ask for are the things she wants most. And the men who truly understand this, who grasp the space between what is said and what is meant, control far more than conversations. They control the current of connection itself. In 1957, psychologist Leon Festinger published research on cognitive dissonance, revealing the internal gap between expressed intent and actual craving. It's still true today. A woman may say one thing with her mouth while her nervous system begs for something else entirely. Most men never notice. They're too busy trying to decode the words, missing the thunder of what's unspoken. They play checkers in a world where women are already mastering 4D chess, speaking in code, motion, withdrawal, leaning in and pulling away, never directly, because the direct is dangerous. Direct gets punished. Direct is judged. So she learns to speak without speaking, to feel without voicing, and to test instead of telling. And yet most men go their entire lives confused by the fading spark, by the mystery of sudden distance. What began as fire now flickers like a dying bulb. They wonder why she doesn't laugh the same, why her touch has cooled, why chemistry now feels like paperwork. It's because they listened to what she said and ignored what she did. They followed logic where only instinct reigns. Female desire doesn't live in logic. It pulses in places older than language, deep in the limbic brain, beyond narrative, beyond permission. She lives in a world that penalizes the woman who wants too much. So she teaches herself restraint. She cultivates poise. She becomes fluent in behavior, in subtle glances, in near invisible invitations. And if you cannot read this language, you are always behind, always reacting, always missing the moment. Intimacy doesn't reward the man who waits to be told. It favors the man who understands before she speaks. Not the man with wealth, not the man with looks, not the man with memorized routines, but the man who senses what she needs before she translates it into words. That man, he is chosen. All others are tolerated. Behavioral psychologist Wednesday Martin spent years studying female sexuality. Her findings upended the assumptions most men operate on. She discovered that desire in women intensifies not in chaos, but in strategic uncertainty. That delicious tension of not knowing, not entirely. The same neurological signals that fire in early-stage infatuation, dopamine, anticipation, reward, aren't born from comfort. They're awakened by controlled unpredictability, by a man who can confidently lead, yet knows exactly when to hold back. A man who understands that delay is sometimes more powerful than delivery. Anthropologist Helen Fisher found that when women are attracted to a man, their brain doesn't light up in affection, it lights up in craving. Craving like hunger, like pursuit, like addiction. These aren't weaknesses in women. These are features. Modern dating, obsessed with safety and performance, has tried to mute those instincts, to bury them under etiquette and endless communication. But biology doesn't read the script. It follows what works. And what works is often what society told you to avoid. So we begin again. 6 behaviors that ignite the nervous system. 6 things she will never ask for, not because she doesn't want them, but because naming them kills them. She wants to feel slightly out of control. Not unsafe, there's a difference. Most men confuse dominance with aggression. They think taking charge means volume, force, assertion. But true dominance is silent. It's in the palm on her lower back, guiding her through the crowd. It's in the confident decision that doesn't require her vote. It's in the way you lead without second guessing. And the moment she feels that, her shoulders drop, her breath slows, she can finally relax, because for once she doesn't have to be the one holding everything together. Women spend their days organizing, planning, managing emotions, relationships, expectations. By the time she's in your arms, she doesn't want to negotiate another decision. She wants to feel that you've got it, that she can let go. Marta Mayana's research confirms that women are most aroused when they feel desired, not when they're in control. Desired to the point that their carefully crafted self-image is no longer strong enough to hold back the pull. But, and this is everything, she cannot tell you this. Because the second she has to ask, the energy shifts. You're no longer leading, you're following orders. And that annihilates the very tension she was hoping to feel. She needs you to sense the moment, to stand firm when she pushes, not to fight, not to control, but to hold space. Because she will thank you, not with words, but with the look she gives you when no one else is watching. She wants you to stop asking for permission. This one destroys more chemistry than all the others combined. Men who over-ask, over-negotiate, turn tension into transaction. Is this okay? Should I? Can I? Each question chips away at the mystery. Women don't want a man who treats attraction like a legal document. They want a man who can move with certainty, who reads the moment without needing an instruction manual, not recklessness, calibrated boldness. Psychologist Terry Conley studied consensual non-consent fantasies and found that many women crave scenarios where they are not in control. Not because they want harm, but because the removal of choice, of judgment, of shame, is freeing. It liberates them from performance. Of course, consent is non-negotiable. But consent doesn't mean halting every moment for verbal approval. It means building a connection where her signals speak louder than her voice. A breath, a glance, the way her body shifts closer. That's fluency. That's awareness. And that's what separates the man who leads from the man who waits. When you stop asking and start sensing, she stops feeling like your supervisor and starts feeling like your woman. Ask yourself, when did you last lead without needing to be validated? If you hesitate, you already have your answer. She wants you to push back when she tests you, because she will test you, not to break you, to see if you bend. Women don't test men to torment them. They test to measure strength. If you shatter the moment she challenges you, the instinctive part of her brain marks you as unreliable. She teases, you apologize, she withdraws, you chase, she distances, you panic. And in that moment, respect vanishes, not in her words, but in the undercurrent of her body. John Gottman's research shows that couples with healthy conflict, who can hold position without emotional collapse, report deeper, longer-lasting intimacy. The goal isn't agreement, it's integrity. When she pushes, she wants to know if you'll stay present, grounded, unflinching. Not angry, not defensive, just steady. The man who doesn't get shaken by her fire is the man she'll return to when the storm hits. Because if you crumble under her gaze, how will you stand before the world? She wants you to remain a mystery. The death of desire is full transparency. When you reveal every flaw, every fear, every past trauma in the first 3 months, you rob the relationship of its air. Esther Perel says fire needs space, desire needs distance. The couples who stay erotic are the ones who preserve separateness, who don't conflate intimacy with exposure. Most men share everything too soon out of desperation to bond. But closeness without contrast breeds comfort, not heat. Women don't crave friendship in bed. They crave polarity. This doesn't mean lying or hiding. It means you retain your own world, your own thoughts, your own ambitions. Not everything needs to be hers. When she asks, "What are you thinking?" and you answer, "Nothing," sometimes that's the right response. because the moment she has you entirely figured out is the moment she emotionally files you away. Predictability is the graveyard of passion. Keep her guessing, not with games, but with depth, with complexity, with silence that says, "There's more to me than you see right now." She wants you to prioritize your mission over her, and this is the hardest pill for most men to swallow, because she says she wants time, attention, presence. But what truly moves her is a man she must earn. A man who is building something greater than both of them. David Buss found that ambition and drive are signals of fitness, of survivability, of leadership. When you drop everything for her, you signal that she is your purpose. And that, over time, repels her. Not because she wants less of you, but because she wants to follow a man who's going somewhere. When you cancel plans to grind, to create, to improve, she may pout, but she respects it. And that respect grows into craving, because now she's competing for your time. She's evaluating her own efforts. She's pulled into orbit. Men who center women lose their own gravity. Women are drawn to mass, to energy, to movement. Don't make her your life. Make her part of the world you're creating. That shift alone rewrites the entire dynamic. She wants you to end the interaction first. Most men don't. They linger. They overextend. They try to squeeze every drop from the moment, dragging it out until it becomes stale. And in doing so, they kill the tension that could have carried into the next meeting. Psychology calls it the peak end rule. People remember the high point and the end more than the average. So if you leave on your terms, while the energy is still electric, she's left wanting, left wondering, left imagining. That's where attraction lives, not in the saturated present, but in the charged absence. Margaret Mead observed that across cultures, the one who controls separation holds the social power. That applies to every interaction. Be the one who ends the call, who ends the kiss, who walks away with confidence, not neediness. Because that walk-away energy is unforgettable. She'll chase it every single time. And here's the final truth they never teach you. Women don't want to tell you what they want, because if they have to tell you, the magic is already gone. The man who must ask is the man who doesn't understand. And it is understanding, not performance, that kindles lasting desire. You cannot rationalize someone into passion. You cannot logic your way into attraction. You can only become the man whose presence triggers her nervous system to respond. Most men, terrified of missteps, sanitize themselves. They neutralize their edges. They become agreeable to everyone and desired by no one. But desire doesn't live in comfort. It lives in polarity, in boldness, in risk. Every behavior listed here requires courage, not arrogance. Courage. The willingness to stop performing and start embodying. The man who does this moves through the world with a quiet gravity. And every woman he meets feels it, even if she doesn't understand why. She won't say it. She can't. The moment she has to explain it, it vanishes. But now you know. What you choose to do with that knowing, that's up to you. The truth most men never confront is that female desire isn't a riddle to be solved. It's a rhythm to be tuned into. Not through intellect, but through instinct. She doesn't want another man trying to outthink her. She wants a man who can outfeel the moment. Someone who walks into the room and the temperature changes, not because he announced himself, but because his presence said everything without needing words. You can't fabricate that. You can't fake groundedness. It's not in your lines, it's in your energy. It's how you hold eye contact a second longer than most can handle. It's how your body doesn't twitch under silence. It's how you remain still when the world expects you to fidget. That stillness, command without force, confidence without arrogance, is rare. And women feel it immediately, not with their mind, but with their skin. That's how subtle this language is. The eyes widen just slightly. The breath changes, a shift in posture, and all of it happens before you've even said a word. Most men rush to fill space. They fear silence. They fear gaps. They talk too much, explain too much, justify too much. But in those gaps lies tension. In those pauses lies power. You don't create attraction by spilling your entire story. You create it by letting her wonder what's behind the door you haven't opened yet. Because once a woman has you entirely figured out, she categorizes you. And once she does, you're no longer a mystery. You're maintenance, predictable, safe, dull. That's the opposite of desire. Real attraction lives in the unknown. Not in hiding, but in holding back enough to keep her guessing. It's not manipulation, it's respect for polarity. It's understanding that tension requires space to stretch its limbs. When you speak, speak slowly. Say less. Let the silence finish your sentence, and watch how that space pulls her in, without force, without asking. Because the moment you stop trying to be understood and start choosing to be felt, the entire dynamic shifts in your favor. But this isn't about being cold. This isn't about playing games. This is about anchoring into yourself so deeply that you don't need validation. You don't need her to like you to know you're worthy. And that's what makes her drawn to you in the first place. Not your compliance, but your centeredness. Not your attention, but your absence of need. That's the paradox most never grasp. The moment you need her, she loses the pull. But when your world is already full, with purpose, direction, inner fire, she wants to find a way to be part of it. This isn't because she's calculating. It's because that energy is magnetic. The man who moves forward regardless of approval, regardless of outcome, becomes the one she orbits. She watches how you treat your time. She sees how you protect your focus. She observes whether your boundaries are real or just words you compromise the second she looks upset. Because if you can't hold the line with her, you won't hold it with the world. And she knows that. The moment you say yes to things you mean no to, she senses it. The moment you soften your truth to protect her feelings, she respects you a little less. Again, not consciously but biologically. Your ability to be direct, not cruel but clear, is what tells her you're safe. Not just safe to be with, but safe to follow. And women are biologically tuned to seek leadership, not dictatorship, but inner authority. The quiet kind that doesn't flinch under pressure. The kind that can make a decision without needing a vote. The kind that knows when to wait and when to act without hesitation. Most men operate in the reverse. They hesitate when they should move, and they rush when they should pause. That inconsistency erodes trust. And once trust is broken, attraction is not far behind. This is why a man's purpose is so essential. Not because it impresses her, but because it anchors him. And anchored men don't chase. They draw in. A man on a mission doesn't rearrange his path for attention. He moves forward. And from that forward motion, respect is born. She doesn't want to be the mission. She wants to witness it, to feel that your fire doesn't depend on her approval. That even if she walked away tomorrow, you'd still rise at dawn with the same intensity. That's what pulls her closer. Not your need, but your momentum. The more you orbit her, the less she orbits you. The more you prioritize her emotions over your direction, the more she feels the weight of responsibility. And that weight? It suffocates desire. She wants to feel your presence, yes. But more than that, she wants to feel your purpose. Because a man who moves with direction is never truly alone. He's followed, not just by women, but by opportunity, by influence, by respect. And that gravitational pull rewires everything in the dynamic. Too many men think that winning her attention is the goal. But attention is cheap. What matters is inspiration. Can you inspire her to rise higher by simply being who you are? Can your presence make her feel more feminine, more alive, more expressive? Not because you force her to, but because your polarity invites it. That's what creates the electric current. Not performance. Polarity. Masculine groundedness invites feminine surrender. And when she senses that invitation is real, she doesn't need words. She responds. Because the dance of desire doesn't begin in dialogue. It begins in the tension between silence and certainty. And that silence matters more than you think. It's in the way you sit beside her without touching, yet she feels your presence like heat. It's in the way you look at her when she thinks you're not watching. It's in the pause before you speak, the calm in your breath, the lack of rush. It's in the way you move through space like you belong there. These are the micro-signals that bypass logic and speak directly to her body. She can't explain why she feels it. She just does. And the moment she tries to explain it, it dissolves. That's why the man who needs to be understood rarely is. The man who speaks volumes without saying much is the one she can't stop thinking about. You're not in a competition for her affection. You're in a dance of perception. And your posture, your pace, your presence. That's what she reads. Not your resume, not your plans, not even your compliments. Those can be found anywhere, but a man who makes her feel more herself just by being in the room, that man becomes unforgettable. There's something magnetic about the man who ends the moment first, not abruptly, not carelessly, but decisively, while the energy is still alive. He's the one who leaves her mid-laugh, not because he's playing a game, but because his life is full and the present moment is enough. Most men stretch time like chewing gum, afraid to let go, afraid to walk away, trying to squeeze out one more glance, one more kiss, one more guarantee. And every extra second they stay past the peak, the magic dies a little. But the man who says, "I've got to run," when things are still glowing, that man becomes a question mark in her mind. He leaves a silence that echoes, a tension that lingers, a moment that replays, because ending well is an art, and women remember how it ended far more than how it began. That principle, the peak-end rule, shapes emotional memory. She won't recall the average minutes. She'll remember the electricity and the exit. Be the man who knows when to exit while the room still hums with chemistry. And she won't just remember you, she'll crave the next meeting. This subtle power extends to everything, to texts you don't over-answer, to calls you let ring once before responding, to arguments you choose to exit with calm instead of proving a point. Control is not in dominance, it's in detachment, not coldness, but emotional regulation. The ability to hold space without spilling into it. The ability to walk away, not to punish, but because you have places to be. And that motion, that forward-leaning posture, she can't resist it. Because everyone else clings, everyone else stays too long, everyone else gives more than they should. But you, if you can exit with elegance, you become rare. You become the outlier. You become the standard she didn't know she was looking for until she met you. And still, you'll never hear her say any of this. She won't teach you the code. She can't. The minute she explains what draws her in, the current breaks. The spell ends. These dynamics live beneath words. And most men will go their whole lives blind to them, convinced that women are confusing, impossible, or unfair. When in truth, women are exquisitely clear to the man who learns to see beneath the surface. That man doesn't chase answers. He observes patterns. He doesn't beg to be chosen. He becomes the one worth choosing. He doesn't perform. He aligns. And that alignment, between word and energy, between action and intention, That's what sets him apart in a world flooded with noise. There's no checklist that replaces this awareness. No script that can substitute for embodied presence. It's not about learning lines. It's about becoming the kind of man whose presence speaks before he does, whose energy arrives 10 seconds before his body, and who exits in silence, but stays in her nervous system like a memory carved into instinct. She'll never be able to fully explain why she thinks about you when she's quiet. She'll never articulate why no one else feels quite right. It's not logic, it's resonance. It's chemistry born from tension, not conflict, but contrast. Masculine groundedness against feminine movement. Structure meeting spontaneity. The container and the current. That's what she wants more than words, more than gifts, more than comfort. Not because she needs fixing, not because she's broken, but because every part of her that had to hold the world all day longs to finally surrender into a man who knows how to hold her without needing her to explain how. So no, she won't ask for any of this. She'll never say, "Make me feel the tension again." She'll never text you, "Lead without asking." She won't say, "Pull back now so I can feel the absence." Because if she has to say it, it's already broken. You'll either feel the moment or you won't. You'll either read her body or you'll miss the message entirely. You'll either embody the energy she's responding to, or you'll fall into the noise of all the other men asking her to teach them how to become the thing they never had the courage to be. And this is the secret no one tells you. Women don't want to train you. They want you to already know. Not because they want perfection, but because instinct is sexier than instruction. If she has to break down what to do step by step, you become her student, and no woman wants to surrender to her student. She wants to lose herself in a man who is already rooted in something deeper. A man who trusts himself so fully that she can finally let go. That letting go, her softening, her surrender, that is the greatest gift she can offer. But it must be earned. Not by deeds, not by persuasion, but by energy. The quiet authority of a man who doesn't ask, "What do you need?" but shows her. The one who doesn't need to be told, because he's watching, listening, sensing. That kind of man doesn't wonder if he's enough. He knows he is, and that knowing, it lives in every movement, every pause, every breath. So what do you do with this now? You don't rush to apply it. You sit with it. You let it change your posture before it changes your behavior. Because this isn't about tactics. This is about embodiment. You start by noticing where you're seeking approval instead of commanding presence. Where you're waiting for permission instead of owning the room. Where you're translating her silence into confusion instead of listening to what she didn't say. Most men will hear this and nod, but go back to playing safe. Back to pleasing. Back to begging. But the man who feels the truth of this, he won't be able to forget it. It'll shift how he walks, how he speaks, how he listens. And over time, women will notice, they won't know why, but they'll feel something different, something steady, something unshakable, something irresistible. You won't need to explain yourself. You won't need to convince her. You'll become the man who understands her without being taught. The one she can finally stop performing for. The one she doesn't have to manage. The one she respects enough to follow and softens enough to crave. And in a world where most men try to win her with compliance, you'll be the man who earns her with truth. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally stopped trying to be who you thought she wanted and became who you actually are. And now you know. She won't tell you this. She'll never say it. But everything she does from this moment forward will show you if you're paying attention. The rest? That's on you.